So today's episode is going to be a bit different in that I am going to give you a bit of a background and an insight into my coaching career and more specifically what led me here. And this is inspired based off of a coaching session that I had with one of our Time Hacker coaches. So just so you guys know, I get coached from our Time Hacker coaches because I believe we train the best. And so obviously I want to get coached by the best. That's fun insight for you. But I thought I'd just share a little bit of more of a personal episode. It's something I've not done for a while, and talk to, what led to me becoming a coach and kind of the early phases of my career, my coaching career specifically. So some of you guys may know this already, but I started my career working in finance. And I did this because I was good at maths and this is what I was told. And I think so many of us, we don't realize that as young adults, we are essentially, the way I think of it is like, we're like baby adults, and then we become toddler adults. And it's a whole different life experience to enter the workforce, to consider where you want to live, how you want to live, who you want to live with, all of these different things. And I think there's a lot of expectation on us to get it right straight out the gate and be successful across all areas straight out of the gate. And I spent my 20s probably living what might have looked successful at parts, but overall looked like a failure because I was changing things a lot and experiencing life a lot. But I went into finance because I did economics at university. I was good at maths. And it was very much the obvious thing to do, which didn't require a lot of my brain. And I don't think at that point I even regret making these choices because I had to just get life experience. And in order to get experience, you have to be experiencing life. And that's what I was doing. I started out as an analyst. So I would work on the research side and I worked in socially responsible investment. And I loved the research side of things and the information. I did some projects on like the pharmaceutical industry, for example. And I really enjoyed that side of things, but I always wanted more. I mean, you guys know me at this point. I was highly ambitious and I really just wanted to do it all and do more. And so it's no surprise that I was anxious to move on to the next thing and the next thing. And the way that the team was set up was I was a junior, but there was a mid-junior, and like it just didn't seem that there was much progression opportunity. And also, I just remember thinking like I really want to work with people, and I love the research side of things, but I really wanted to be more involved with people. So I moved from the analyst side into the sales side, still working. I worked with pension funds, so still in the same arena, but I moved to the sales side because I wanted to have more conversations with humans, connections with humans. That's obviously something that I massively value. And so I did that. And then I decided I wanted to move to New York. The company that I worked for was US based. And so we started discussing it. And as we were doing it, and I remember I've been getting qualifications and certifications and 7 days in the office and all of that stuff. Someone offered me a more sales role, like a more salesy sales role, which I thought I wanted because I was going to spend more of my time speaking to humans. And so I moved to New York with that. It ended up being like a really aggressive sales role in New York and probably one of the toughest environments, a lot of cold calling. It wasn't the right thing for me. And so I went back into finance, moved back to London, and was quite quickly aware that I just actually wanted to help people, and this was not what I was doing. And I remember thinking, I'm either going to be a coach, a therapist, or a counselor, and I don't know which. And I was very fortunate that one of my brother's best friends, had left finance for a similar move and was willing to have a chat with me. So shout out to all those people that are willing to have a chat with you, when you are starting out or questioning anything. And so he was willing to have a chat with me. We spoke, and I was deep into like already 2 months of research around like counseling and coaching and therapy and what's the difference and what does it look like and what's the expense and all of these different things. And this person I will never forget. They absolutely changed my life. Thanks, shout out to Alex, which is funny because that's also what my best friend was called that introduced us, but this is definitely a different Alex. And I got on a phone call and I was speaking to also people in those 3 different careers, and I was just gathering all the data and all the information. And I remember he just said to me, well, if you had to pick now, like if you were going to pick now, what would you pick and why? And I said I would start with coaching. I feel like I can actually get the experience, whereas with therapy or counseling, I would have to go and study before I got the experience. And so that's what I did. So this is 2016. I handed in my notice at work, and I soon invited people that I knew to let people know that I was taking on free clients. Some of you have heard this story. And before I knew it, like I sneezed and I had 10 clients. And this was my old roommate in New York, sister. This was my secretary in London's 2 friends from home. This was like, honestly, it was my best friend's friend from uni, like anyone. And I did what I always do and did too much too fast, because at the same time I was building and testing a coaching program. I was learning about coaching myself. And then I had 10 new clients. It was just a lot. And so, you know, I ended up, as you guys know, within a few months, I was closing that down, and I ended up in the startup world. And that's when I started creating this podcast so that I could provide tools and services as I pursued a different career. And then a year later, though, I decided to get a certification. I just wanted to certify and get the skill. Now, I knew I loved coaching. I knew it was going to be a part of my life. I didn't know what that would look like, but I knew that I wanted to get the skill. So I got certified with a school out in the US. Me and my husband flew out to California to go and do it in person, which was really cool. And that school actually doesn't do it in person anymore. So I'm glad that I said yes then, even though I didn't get my career going immediately, my coaching career. And then it wasn't until 2019 when we closed the other business where I was like, okay, I'm going to go back all in on coaching, because I knew that I loved coaching. I knew I loved people. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I was impact led. And I knew that I also loved working remotely and being able to work from anywhere and being able to build something, being able to challenge norms and support people and support dreamers and builders and doers and change makers and all of these amazing things. And so I actually got certified not knowing what my coaching career would look like, and not even knowing if I would definitely have a coaching career, but just loving the skill of coaching, loving the experience of coaching, and committing to excellence. Those were the things that really drove me to get certified. And obviously, as you guys know, I've now gone on to develop my own tools based off of my experience coaching hundreds of clients and my own personal experience. I always say you are your number one client, you are your first client. Problem solve for yourself, and you can problem solve for others, support yourself, and you can support others. And that doesn't mean that I didn't always have coaches as well. I always recommend, you know, getting coaching as well, being in rooms as well. But I wanted the skills, and those skills drastically changed my relationship to my partner, my relationship to my work, my relationship to life, my experience of life, all before I actually built out my career. And I just want to normalize that, because I think a lot of people put pressure on themselves to perhaps know exactly what they're going to do with something before they go out and do it. And I just want to normalize that it's okay to just take that one step at a time and just be committed to the next step and the next step. And by the way, part of the reason that I wanted to share with you my journey to becoming a coach is because we are about to open up and become a Time Hacker Coach certification once again. This is our coaching certification that is built off of a very unique reason. A lot of coaching certifications are out there and they're very independent. You just go, you get a certification, and then you move on with your life. But our coaching certification is different in that I never intended to actually have a coaching certification. But what happened was, when I was put on bed rest, when I was pregnant, and I had clients inside Time Hackers, that I knew I wanted to get excellent coaching. And I believe I'm one of the best coaches in the world. And so I want that for my clients. So I decided I would invite my Time Hackers to get certified by me. And I thought 2 or 3 would say yes, and we would certify, and then we would have coaches to take over while I was on bed rest, when I was then going to be on maternity leave, and just going forward. Sorry, need dry throat. Now, what ended up happening was we got 12 people that wanted to certify, and I decided to say yes and go all in on the experience and just trust where it would go. We've now certified 27 coaches, and I'd say about 50% want to stay and work with us. And others get to go use it in their day job, use the skill of coaching. They get to use it in their own coaching business. They get to use it, or to just have the skills to change their lives, whatever it might be. Or they get to come and work with us. But the point here is, our coaching certification was built out of a deep care to guarantee my clients get excellent coaching when I'm not available. And that's why our coaching certification is not a checkbox activity. It is the difference between excellent coaching and coaching. Like, I require excellence, excuse me, and I teach excellence and I prioritize excellence because this certification was built out of something very personal, which is allowing other people to coach my clients. So now I just want to be clear, that doesn't mean that all of our coaches are copies of Vicky. They're absolutely not. I think that's our super skill, is that we have different techniques, different experiences, different backgrounds, different tones, different, all of those different things. But the common thread throughout all of our coaching and with all of our coaches is excellence. It's like, honestly, the feedback we get all the time from people that we partner with, from people that get coaching from us. One of the big things that we always hear is like, I've paid thousands for coaching before. And the quality of coaching, because our one-to-one coaching program, in case you didn't know, is £97 a month. And the quality of coaching, the quality of coaching that I got from your coaches is unparalleled. And that's not by accident. That's literally was my intention. That's by design. Everything that we build into this certification is to create excellent coaches, not to create coaches, not to tick a box, not to say I am a coach, but to create the skill of excellent coaching, right? People are drawn to this certification because they want to be a better communicator, because they want to be a better leader, because they want to be a better manager, because they want to be a better people or HR person, because they want to be a better coach. We have a majority, probably like 60% of people are already coaches. We also have a lot of our time hackers that have changed their lives through the time hacker tools. And then, of course, I've said this was like the easiest decision. Of course, I want to help other people using the tools that have helped me. This is a no-brainer. We are going to be sharing in the next few weeks also some interviews that we've done with our time hacker coaches that we did towards the end of their certification, so you can hear in their own words, which I think is more powerful. Just to bring it all back a minute, and I just wanted to share with you, one, as an example, that where we start in the journey is not where we finish, right? I didn't know that I would be building out this certification. Two, to share a little bit about my own personal journey and story, and also to share a little bit of the story behind the coach certification, so you can see that we are committed to excellence and why we were developed and why we continue to develop it. Because now, obviously, we've been able to, from having more coaches, we were able to then build out the one-to-one coaching program, which is something I'm so proud of. We're now able to go and partner with organizations, which is something I'm so proud of. So it's just given us access to more that I didn't know intentionally. And to rewind even further, I think back to Vicky, who was doing all the research about counseling, therapy, and coaching, and didn't know which one to do. And she had no idea that we would be doing what we're doing now. And sometimes it is just that one brave decision, that willingness to do something, that willingness, like, I just knew in my core, I wanted to help people and I wanted to make the world a better place. And I wanted to spend my time talking with humans. That's why I do this podcast, right? I obviously love talking. So I just really wanted to share that with you. I am going to leave the link in the show notes to the Become a Time Hacker Coach program. Like, we're not officially open, but we do get applications in throughout the year. I think we've already had 3 or 4 in. And also I'll leave the link to our one-to-one coaching program in case you're interested in experiencing coaching. That's also a great way to do it. And I just wanted to leave you with thinking about, like, your story, because, like, Vicky, 2016 Vicky would love to have listened to this episode and to have known everything's going to be okay and we're going to figure it out and things get better. But I also think she would have been overwhelmed by what we've achieved because she wasn't yet the person who could do it. And that's important, right? We so want to know the future. We so want to know how it all works out. This is like the premise of time hacking, right? When you take that one step, you aren't taking one step and then another step of the same size. You are creating compounding growth, compounding change. You are stepping into something, like, for anyone who's listening, who's thinking, I would like to be a coach and I'm interested in hearing more about coaching through the Become a Time Hacker Coach program, then, like, it's not just a decision to become a coach, right? My decision back then wasn't just to become a coach. It was to end up, like, having my own team. It was to build a coaching certification. It was to build the most accessible one-to-one coaching program on the planet. It was to build so much IP around time and productivity that is relevant for women and parents and neurodiversity and people with a chronic illness and things and tools that the world really needs. It was to, like, you know, it's to be here and have a top 1% global podcast. And this is, and not, that's just like the big things, but also to have so much flexibility in my life and to be able to spend, you know, Mondays with my little one instead of him going to nursery, and to be able to host my first retreat in person that I'm doing this year and be able to reach clients all over the world and be able to speak on stages and to travel for work and to have high flexibility. Like, so much changed in my life because I was willing to make that one decision. And the coach certification that I invested in was terrifyingly expensive at the time. It was $21,000. This is in 2016, 2017. Remember, I'd quit my job. I had got, and I do recommend this to anyone, like if you would like to be a coach, speak to a friend and see if they know anyone, like one person that will do 3 one-on-one coaching sessions with you. It's just like a fun thing to do, and you don't need to do it perfect because there are trainings like the Time Hacker Coach certification where you can become skilled, not in the tick box. I'm not going to tell you guys, we don't tell you guys exactly what to say, but we develop the skill of coaching so that you become an excellent coach. So if that is something that appeals to you, then you're going to enjoy the next few weeks of podcasts. I hope you enjoyed a little bit background around my story, sharing a little bit about how I became a coach, why I became a coach, and a little bit about how and why the certification started. I will see you guys soon. Some of you I will see inside certification. Next class is January 2025. We are filling up already, and we do cap the class. We do limit the places because we care about excellence. We actually develop the skill of coaching together in the room, and we experience a lot of practical, like practice, let's say, and feedback. So the whole program is built with like excellent coaching in mind. So I just wanted to share a little bit about that. I hope you enjoyed this different episode, and I hope you enjoy the next few weeks. And this, if you feel like this message is meant for you and you want to become a Time Hacker coach, then I will leave that link in the show notes. Bye, everyone.